Well, this is the game that I've really been looking forward to in this afternoon session. It is Martin Schindler, who's been a revelation this year on the Pro Tour. He was playing good stuff last year, but didn't quite manage to keep his tour card. He was 500 quid away from qualifying for the World Championship. That would have been enough. So he had to go to Q School. There, he played amazingly. Hit a 9-darter, beat Raymond van Barneveld, won his tour card outright. He was absolutely stupendous. And he followed that up right the way through this year. He has played some brilliant stuff. And over the 30 Players Championship events, I thought he looked like one of the very likely new first-time winners. Didn't happen in the end. Kept falling short, often in the sort of quarter-final, semi-final stages. But he goes up against Ian White, who is a man of immense pedigree. He is a Pro Tour monster. He has picked up double digits in terms of the number of PDC titles to his name. And a couple of those on big stages as well, on the European Tour. This is not a man who only does it away from the TV cameras. He's a former semi-finalist in this event. He may not be playing his absolute best stuff this year, the Diamond, but he's still one of the top performers in this sport over the last few years. I'm hoping we're in for something special here.
I hope so too, Dan. And Ian White will be hoping for a special weekend, because if he doesn't have a good weekend, he is going to go down the rankings somewhat. He is projected, without a win this weekend, to be around 26 in the world. He's better than that, but 2021 in reflection, is he? Not so sure.
I'll be honest, I think Ian White and Michael van Gerwen are the two, when you look at the top performers in the world of darts, they are the two that have suffered most following the COVID lockdowns. Ian, by his own admission, didn't pick up a set of darts for a number of weeks. It was the longest spell that he hadn't played darts in years and years and years. And he struggled to get back to the levels he was at. Michael van Gerwen did the same. And it's still a work in progress for Ian. I think Michael van Gerwen is pretty much back to perhaps not his all-conquering best, but he's certainly at the level where he might average 110 all weekend.
Schindler has started strong. And that is something he is used to doing this year. Tops. Tens. And very, very solid to start this one off. Did he forget his dart shirt? Because he's got a black polo on that just says The Wall. Come on, Martin, you're better than that.
Well, maybe he is so confident, Martin Schindler, that he thinks, oh, I'm going to be playing a few games this weekend. Don't you worry about that. I'll save the full-on Martin The Wall Schindler shirt for when I'm on the main stage.
Or maybe he's going to unveil a new one for Ali Pali.
Maybe.
Same version for Ian White. Nothing much changes for Ian. But it's interesting what you were saying about the shutdown of play at the beginning of last year. Of course, we came here in March of 2020 where we saw a 9-darter from Johnny Clayton on the stage. That was a bit of a precursor to what we'd see the next 18 months. But we saw some players embrace the whole online process, things like the home tour, and there were others who just didn't want to do it. Look at Chris Dobie. He was playing online stuff every single day. And that hard work has paid off because he's now got 2 titles to his name. There's hard work from Schindler, and he is a better player than he has ever been.
I think he is. I think he is. I think if you're looking at the best players in Germany right now, I know Gabriel Clemens is the #1, but I don't think there's a great deal between him, Martin Schindler, and I might even include Flo Hempel in that.
I love how everybody's calling him Flo now. He's embraced it.
Yeah.
98. You only require 133.
I like 19's first on 133. Because it opens up double-double. 57 leaves 76. You can stay downstairs for 2 double 19s. Or double 18, double top, whereas the 60, still got to get a treble.
There's no name for that shot, is there? Treble, double, double on the same segment.
No.
We need to coin one. You don't often see it, but it's a cracker. Now then, Shindy. Okay, Mensur.
Game shown the
Well, well,
second
well.
leg. Martin
I don't think I've
Schindler.
seen Martin do that. I like it as a route.
Martin at
You
front
always have the
first.
danger of
Game on.
potentially busting your score if you go into that treble 20, but pins that double 14 with no bother at all, and it's 2-0 Schindler. And you mentioned, Paul, that Shindy does have a habit of starting games strongly. We've seen that certainly these Players' Championship events. The number of times when you're looking on the Dark Connect system and you see Martin Schindler in the first 3 or 4 legs and he's averaging 110 because he's kicked off 13 data, 14 data, 14 data. It's astonishing. That's, you know, really eye-catching stuff. Now, the averages in the end may end up sort of high 90s or something like that. He may not be at that 110 mark. But he really does seem to have got in the habit of getting out the gates early.
It's a nice quality to have, but in best of 11 you have to maintain that for slightly longer than some other formats you may have played previously in your career, or indeed
58.
in different games that you're playing currently. But Schindler has taken his foot off the pedal a little bit in leg 3, and Ian White is taking full advantage of it. Should leave 87 here, and does.
Needs to fill him up to leave a finish. He's not going to do that, so Ian White has a great chance to break here. Doesn't need to go for the bullseye should the opportunity present itself. He'd love double 18 here, and he's going to get a couple at it. Double 9. Yeah, very good. And Ian White didn't, well, did he like the encouragement, or was he not happy that they shouted out? I would probably guess the latter, knowing Ian.
I think right there, Dan, that somebody thought that double 18 was in, and they were cheering that it was in, but he hit the double 9 as if to say, well, I got the leg anyway, so thanks for your help.
Well, Ian, by contrast with Luke Woodhouse, he is a guy who has a rhythm to his play. I know that every player may have to give himself a bit of an extra moment to readjust if they're moving around the board, but Ian does have this sort of regimented routine that he goes through. And it's that repetition, that ability to do the same thing over and over and over again in exactly the same way that makes him such a dangerous player. It means the Ian White 14 data, I mean, at his best, it looked like he could throw 14 darters all day. In fact, we have seen him in Players' Championship events go to quarterfinals, semi-finals, be averaging around about that 106, 107 mark, which is a 14 darter. For the whole day, not just for a game, not just for a couple of games, for a whole day.
Look at the players who have won multiple PDC titles over the last 10 years. And Ian White is involved in that cluster of players.
95.
The majority of those players will have a rhythm that they can count on. MVG, Anderson, White, Michael Smith. They're the kinds of players that I'm talking about. And it's something that Rob Cross has struggled with.
60.
When he gets it right, he's a completely different player. But Ian White has never struggled with rhythm. Sometimes I think he may struggle with getting over the line or possible confidence. He's been given an awful draw here.
He has, because you know that the winner plays either Jason Lowe or Gerwin Price. I mean, this is an absolutely brutal section of the draw. I mean, it could be a Schindler-Price rematch. But it's still only short format in the second round, so...
No pun intended. He's not the tallest of players, but we love him just the way he is.
Small but deadly. Like a chinchilla with rabies. This is tops. White looking at the 147.
Not quite. And Schindler is looking to re-establish that two-leg cushion.
Martin, you require 20.
That's a little glance over at his score.
Game shown the fourth leg.
Doesn't look at leg 4 for very long, because we're going into leg 5 with that two-leg cushion once again. Now Schindler comes into this ranked 27th, and if Ian White was playing in the old format, he wouldn't have qualified for this tournament. It's strange. He's had better runs this year. He's had semi-final runs twice. Schindler hasn't. But Schindler over the course of the season has been more consistent.
Yeah. very, very good at getting through his board, Martin Schindler, as Ian White produces his first maximum. 3 years to the day yesterday that Martin Schindler was playing in the World Youth Championship final here in Minehead. Lost out to Dimitri van den Berg on that occasion. Oh, hello.
Good segue that, because we do have the World Youth Championship taking place this weekend. Who's the favourite for that one? Is it Rusty Jake Rodriguez?
I think the smart money, I say the smart money, my money, so the distinctly not smart money, would have to be Callan Rydz with the way that he's played, particularly recently. But there's a lot of very exciting talent. The real question is, what happens if Callan Rydz is involved in the final day of action in the Players' Championship finals and the World Youth Championship is going on? How are they going to juggle that?
I think we should handle that if and when it comes. Ian White has to handle 44, and he can't afford to miss. And doesn't. This is another good game in the first 5 or 6 legs. What happens in this game as we go towards the second half? Because at this point, with Ryan Joyce and Woodhouse, we were talking about 2 players averaging 100. Here, we've got the same sort of standard. It's real quality.
100.
But Schindler has that advantage. Can he get it back at 2 legs again?
Well, it's 2 winning legs so far, Ian White, 11 darter and 12 darter.
60.
I mean, that is astonishing. However, he's lost the other 3 legs we've played, so you know he can throw 5 11 or 12 darters if he wants. He could throw 3 more 9 darters if he wants here, but if Martin Schindler wins the other 3 legs, tough luck, Ian.
Don't tell me it's going to be another one of those games where Ian White averages over 100 and loses, because the amount of times that happens,
85.
it's getting a bit silly now.
Well, Ian, not quite. I mean, he's averaging 95 for the year in the Pro Tour. I mean, it's good, really good. It's not in the top 20, though. And normally, Ian White, in the sort of last 4 years preceding this, you're expecting Ian White to be in the top 10 and maybe even the top 5. You know, right up there with Van Gerwen and Price. He is that good, has been that good for so long.
If you'd have said to me, Dan, 9 months ago, that we would be sitting here at Minehead watching the Reds Bar action as usual, and we'd have 5 winners of Players' Championship events playing on board 2 this afternoon and tonight, and Ian White was here, I would have said Ian White's going to be one of them, but he's not. He hasn't won this year.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Ian levels the game up on double top. And he's right back in this, and there's another point over to the crowd there, and I can't quite tell whether Ian White is appreciative of the support or whether he's actually telling someone to shut up.
I'm not going to let this slide, because that single to leave tops, that for me was the best dart I've seen today. Because what he wants is a single that's lower in the 20. He's gone to the right of the first one, and he's left the tops clear without having to move. It was an incredible single. And it had a huge bearing on staying in rhythm, like we've talked about already.
46.
And Ian White is showing some gusto in this match so far, level at 3-3. But that support, I hope it's positive.
Yes. Well, whatever it is, he's finding a way at the minute, Ian. And it's good to see him playing like this, I have to say. He has been... I cannot say enough good things about Ian White and what he's done over the last few years in PDC darts. But you look at his Pro Tour stuff, I mean, the last handful of tournaments, it's been first and second round exits for him. There was a board final in there, but you've got to go back to Players' Championship 21, so 10 events ago, for him going beyond the board final, the last 32.
Yeah, and that was before the summer break, before we went to only European Tour action for a few weeks. So we had a long break. He did have some arm issues as well over the course of the summer, but this looks a lot better from Ian White, and I love the fact he's gone 19s on 233. This is great use of the board. Treble 19 leaves a 2 darter. Beautifully used. And it was the right shot.
One treble required for Schindler. He's got it. Single 16. Leaves double top. Great shot, Martin Schindler. And that is a celebration, not just because it's an important point of the match, but every single one of those darts was exactly where he wanted it.
They were as precise as a German train schedule.
42.
They were right on time, right on point. That celebration, it reminded me of Brian Moore. Do you remember that guy, that hooker for England?
Yeah.
It was just grimacing as if to say, I'm not going to lose here.
He's just seen Ian White pick off 2 legs in succession to level the match when Schindler was looking good at 3-1 up. Put under pressure, White on a 2-darter and 3 perfectly delivered darts for that 116 checkout. I know one was a big 16, but it was still exactly where he was trying to put it. And that just builds your confidence. There are good ton-plus checkouts. All of them are good, but then there are great ones.
37.
Definitely advantage Schindler here if he can get to a small finish. I think that's there.
85.
It wasn't because the third one was in, but he does get to a finish first.
Down for the 19s, because 2 single 19s would get him to 164. Okay, he's going 18. Oh, well, he tried. The thinking was there. He was doing them, but then the thing is, he's gone to the 18s, and he's already blocked some of the 20s where he'd have to move back. It doesn't seem a sensible shot to me. In the end, he's managed to pin a treble to get himself to a finish anyway.
He's done really well with that third dart. However, oh, I fancy Schindler for a shot at double 12 there.
109.
This would be the best visit of the day if this goes. Oh, it's perfect. So is that. Oh, that would have been incredible. And Schindler can breathe now for his effort at double 16.
He can breathe, but as there's a little flutter in Martin Schindler's heart after watching Ian White nearly take the 144. There is not. Martin Schindler, a picture of composure as he hits back with back-to-back legs of his own. That is a break of throw, and Shindy has the darts in his hand looking for a 6-3 victory. Ian White, when he's been getting it right in this game, has got it very, very right. He's averaging more than 101.
60.
But when it's come to the crunch, the big moments, Martin Schindler has been a little bit better than the diamond.
All you have to be in these games, Dan.
81.
Just a little bit better at the very end.
He's averaging 101.6 and he's 60% on his doubles, Ian White. I mean, it is a brilliant, you know, that would have won against anybody we've seen today, including on the main stage where Ryan Searle and Christoph Ratajski have been playing. In fact, it's Ian's practice partner Michael Smith on the main stage at the minute, and he's only averaging mid-90s with 50%, 4-2 up on Willie Borland. Statistically, this is absolutely brilliant from Ian White, but it's not enough against Martin Schindler in this mood and showing the composure he's got, although that doesn't look particularly composed.
45.
Oh, no. Oh, it wasn't the 20. I thought he'd scored 26 for a moment there.
You go through spells in your career where you're playing well but not winning. It's been a year like that for Ian. You're seeing just little instances of that frustration. He was invited back in, but he hasn't taken the invitation there.
And that's the thing with it. It's been his worst year for a while. But, yeah, he has had injury problems. He had an operation over the autumn. But he's not having a crisis or anything. He's not fallen off a cliff. We're not in sort of Glenn Durrant territory or anything like that. He's just not playing quite as well as he has for a number of years. There's nothing to say he won't get back to that level. 2022, Ian White could be picking up Pro Tour titles left, right and centre, and with a full Euro Tour to play on, things could get back to where they were for Ian White. But right now, Martin Schindler has been throwing higher averages than him all year. He's been consistently better, and he's outplayed him just about in this game. and he's going to get 6 darts from here for a 6-3 win against the diamond.
The 116 earlier was millimetre perfect. Double top.
75.
And that one is off by just a couple of millimetres.
First 2 were perfect though, weren't they? Again, exactly where he wants them. Martin Schindler just looks so composed. He looks completely in control of his game. And he should win this match 6-3. And he could well take on Gerwyn Price. He was the only man to beat the Iceman at the Grand Slam. And he may well go up against him again. Ian White has averaged high 90s there and 60% on his doubles, but he was only given 5 darts at the double by the wall, who, despite being a little man, was a wall too tricky to surmount for the diamond, as Schindler books his place in round 2.